So let's continue. Let's continue with our refactor. So remember, we cheated here. I will wait for guys to... By the way, if you started, it's not the right time yet because we didn't start the workshop yet, but actually the right repository is under my name. So there is another one called React TDD Workshop under Wix namespace. It's a different one. It's not using Puppeteer, it's an old one. So this is in Telegram, this is the correct one. But you don't have to use it yet, okay? We'll get to it later. Cool, so now I want to do my refactor, and let's create two components, one for registration and one for the game, okay? And I will have to fix the cheats that I just did, okay? I cheated, I didn't have an event here, okay? So let's create a registration component. And I will use registration here. And let's copy the component. Okay, and we need our state here. Let's take the whole constructor. So this component will have an inner state because we are using controlled component here. Okay, you know controlled components. So we are using controlled components. So the main state will stay at app.js, but we will need an inner state here for this component in order to work with controlled components. So now I will have to do something like on click, and I will have to pass an event to the parent saying new game started. Okay, so actually I need a prop here as well. So let's have props as well. Let's bring props. So I need prop types, and let's do something like and we have on new game method, which is .func. Okay, so I have a on new game method. And on new game, I want to do something like this dot props dot on new game, and I want to send those two inputs. This dot state dot questions. So I have Prettyfire, which actually arrange stuff for me here. So actually what I did is I have an event for click button, which actually called the on new game, and from my parent I will now use it. So let's have on new game, and on new game what I want to do is to do set state. Okay, I will get p1 name and p2 name, and I will do something like this dot set state for those two names. So actually let's change the names. It might be a little bit confusing now. Let's call it p1 name. So in the inner component it was inputs. It's just a local state because we use controlled components, and here it's just p1 name and p2 name. Okay, what is wrong here? And we have to use them. P1 name and P2 name. Sorry? Above, sorry, I don't, you can.
On chain, line 16 and 14.
Yeah.
Two inputs, also there are.
Yeah, of course. As I said, every time I'm doing something wrong is to see that you're listening, so thanks. And I should be green now. No. Unknown event handler on new game. Where did I did wrong? Unknown event handler?
You should use a component.
What?
On the bottom.
Yeah, of course. I'm confused today. So of course, sorry. So here I want to do registration with on new game, of course. And here I want to have, I didn't have to erase all of it. This dot set state p1 name and p2 name. Okay.
And don't remember to import.
Yeah. And let's close the registration and import it. And we're green. So each time I'm green, I know that this was a step. I did a small refactor to registration, and because it's green, I know that I did everything right, okay? You saw I had some problems on the way, but when it's green, it's really nice. It's really important for you to see that it's green and you can continue. So now let's refactor the second part to be a game component, and let's have a game component. And let's create it. And game. And inside the render function, we'll put those two. Okay, and this component will actually, for now, we can use it as a, never mind, let's start like this. We need a div here. Okay, and we need props for it. Okay, for those two names will be props now. Actually, for now, ESLint won't let me do it like this. I need to use, let's use something like const game equals and p1 name. I have p1 name and p2 name as props now. And I don't need all of this anymore. Okay, are you following me?
Mm-hmm.
No? You said no. So export default game, and I need props now, prop types. Let's copy it from here. And let's do something like game.prop types. Prop types equal prop. Let's copy it from here. Sorry, not prop types equals. And I have p1 name, which is a prop type dot string. And put p2 name, and those two, of course, will be from props. And this is our game, and we are red. We have unused, we did not finish everything in app because we have to pass the props, right? p1 name is dot stay dot p1 name, and p2 name. Okay, and let's import the game component. And we are green. Okay, so I did a refactor. I refactor to use two components now. We have game component and registration component. Okay, and oh, I broke something. No questions so far? So this is only the start of the game. As I promised, we don't open the browser at all. Okay. By the way, I had one great question during the break about Puppeteer. So why using Puppeteer? What's the advantages? We didn't speak about it. So actually, Puppeteer is not a knockout over Selenium, but it's the nice things that I think there are. We have a great API, which is maintained by Google. You can actually really easily do stuff like screenshots and all kinds of things that are sometimes hard to do using Selenium. And for me, Selenium documentation was really hard. Like sometimes it was really like hard to go. And it's really nice that you have all kinds of stuff like easy setup. I can set up really easily. I can set up Puppeteer. I can show you in Node in 3 lines. I'm just importing Puppeteer, and it will work because it's downloading our Chromium instance, and everything just works. Okay. So it's really, they have some really nice features, really nice API and documentations, and really nice to work with, okay? So it's not a knockout, but it has really nice advantages. Questions? Nothing. Okay, so next step, we registered a new game. And as I said, I want to have a working skeleton as fast as possible. And now we only have, and I do it in baby steps. Our next step will be first player clicking a cell, which we don't have yet, okay? And then after first player is clicking a cell, I will have a win for first player, another test. But for now, next test is clicking a cell. Actually, one more thing that I want to do, and maybe one thing before going to the next step. You don't have to do it now. You can do it later as a refactor, but I will do it now. We like to use drivers for our tests. How many are familiar with drivers? No one. So yeah. So drivers, actually, in my test, I want two important things. I want it to be really readable. I want it to be like English readable. I want to have those steps written in similar to English. And second important thing, I don't want to see selectors in my test. If I have selectors in all my tests and then I'm changing some stuff in the implementation of my code, it will be really hard. I will have to go in all my tests and change it. Okay? So I will extract all the logic, all those selectors and this logic to a different driver. And driver is a concept. I can write a driver in all different kind of ways. We have at Wix, we can use it using classes, like you have a class and some specific convention using a given when then builder, or it can be just methods, simple methods. So for me here, I will do some really simple methods, but you can use whatever you like, okay? It's the idea and not the implementation is not important, the implementation detail. So for me, let's create it here, and later on I will actually move it to a different file. Okay, it will be in a different file, and you can take it to whatever. Like you can have code reuse between stuff with different drivers. It can go as far as you want. For here, we'll do something really simple. So I'll have something like const app driver, and in this driver, I don't want to send page each time, so I will have some kind of state which will be page. So I'll use closure here. I don't like classes, so I will use closure for that. So I'll have app driver method with page enclosure, and let's say, for example, let's start with navigate. It's the simplest one. So I'll have navigate here, which actually for now it doesn't get anything. If I need a URL, I can actually send a URL. And what it does is actually the navigate. It will return our navigate. Okay, so sorry? Question? So this is navigate. And let's initialize our browser, our driver. So I can do something like before. Let's have a let driver here, and in before each, I'll do something like driver equals app driver and pass page. I think I can put it in before all, but let's keep it for now. I can actually think about it later. So now I have a driver, and here I'll do something like driver.navigate. And let's see. Sorry? Yeah, like this. And what's wrong with page? Already declared. Yeah. I usually use describe as well. I didn't write describe here. So yeah, so now we are green. It's important to see all the time that you are green. Okay, don't forget to check after each change that you do that you are green. And actually the watch mode here is really nice. Usually with Selenium, you don't have a really convenient watch mode. Here, watch mode is working great. You see, it doesn't have any glitches. And next thing, let's move to drivers. Let's move all of those to be new game method. So I'll have await new game, and it will get P1 name and P2 name. P1, player 1. Player 1 and player 2. And let's and driver, of course, driver dot new game, and I will have new game here, which will get P1 name, player 1 and player 2, and we need the await here, sorry. We need the await here, so let's do something like this. And yeah. And I need async here. And something is still not well formed here. What did I do wrong here? Yeah. Yeah. And let's see, we are green. Okay? Let's even run it again. Okay. So I have, now the test is already more like English-wise, English readable. Like, I mean, driver.navigate, driver.newGame. It's much nicer. And now let's also change this one to be driver.get get player 1 name or title maybe, or title. And let's have by the way, I use flycat. It's really nice. If you see that I'm having flycat remembering all my copies, so it's a really nice tool if you don't know it. Sorry? For Mac. It's a tool for Mac, and it remembers all my copies. Flycat. It's a really nice tool. Okay, if you want, it's really nice. So now I have one problem here. I think, let's see. No, I don't have. It's green. Okay, and let's do the same for second player. let's take this one to be driver dot get player 2 title, and actually I can copy this line and just do something like this. Get player 2 title, and we are green. Okay, so I did a quick refactor to drivers. Actually, you don't have to do it on the first test. I like to do it when I get to the second test and I see that I'm using the same code. I want to code reuse and don't repeat myself. But in this case, I wanted it to be like it will be nicer now to write the second test. Questions regarding drivers? Okay, so let's go to second test. And baby steps, we want the second player should have X after first player clicks. Okay, I want to see the X. I'm just doing baby steps. Actually, later on, when I have my winner test, I will be able to delete this test. It's just a helper baby step in order to get to the skeleton I want. So let's start a new game again. I'm starting a new game. And now I want to click the first cell that I don't have yet. So await driver dot click cell at, and I will click this first cell, and let's implement the method. Okay, I wrote a method that I will now implement, and index, and now let's have something like page dot, and now what I want to do is click a cell, so I can do, actually I can do click, no, I can't, because I want to, I want to think how will I implement this. I will use some kind, I don't know, table maybe in HTML, and now I want to grab, I will do query selector all on all the TDs of the table, of this table, and then I will want to get the first one. Okay, so I'll do query selector all is $$ in Puppeteer, and this one, and actually let's do it on TD now. Okay, this will be my selector, and now I will get all my elements. And actually, if you know, in query selector all, it's not an array, it's a node list. So I'll need array.from for this node list. And now I can take what I want to take the first one. So let's take the first one from the array. I need the index, right? This index. And I want to click it. Okay, is this clear? But I have a bug here. Let's see if someone, it's hard. It's something in Puppeteer. Let's see if you, yeah.
Why did you put $?
Here? Because I want query selector all. I want to query all my TDs, and then I want to grab the first, the index, which is the first one that I sent from here. I sent click SL at 0. So index here will be 0. And now I'm doing query selector all elements, and I'm taking the first one and I will click it. Okay, array from,
like page click and then put inside elements.
you can do all kind of things here. If you do page click, it will be harder for you to grab in selector, to grab the first one. You can actually, there are all kind of ways, but here I have a bug. It won't work. Let's see. Index is not defined. Let's see who deserves a t-shirt. Why index is not defined? I have a problem here.
Because in elements should add index.
Sorry?
As arguments. Maybe.
As arguments where?
After TDs, go.
Here?
After TDs.
TDs, where is TDs? This one?
After with
Yeah.
elements,
Yeah.
pass as argument index.
You're in the right way, but why? Do you know why? Why doesn't it know index?
Because it's error function.
No,
Different context.
no reservoir. Sorry?
Different context. You didn't create. I'm not sure.
Sorry again? You are, I think you are right. Yeah? Yeah.
So if I understand correctly, what you executed inside the WAV function is inside browser context.
Exactly. So you deserve a t-shirt. So let's explain. I will give you a t-shirt. A React t-shirt. React Kill t-shirt. So what is happening here? Actually, let's explain. It's important. Eval function is grabbing, it's doing query selector all on TD, and it will run this method on browser context. It will actually, what it will do, it will stringify this function and run eval, JavaScript's eval on this method in order to run it on the browser, okay? So this function will run on browser context. It will actually do to string to the function. I can show you in Puppeteer's code. It's just to string. It's taking the function, it is doing to string and eval on browser. So this code will run on browser, and when it will run on browser, it doesn't know what index is because it's not in the context. So what we can do here, let's go to Puppeteer. Sorry? No, no bind. I want to send. I have, for almost everything here, I have args. So eval is taking selector, page function, which will run on browser, and variables, args. So I can actually send args, which will be passed to the function. Okay? So if I'm doing here index, for example, so it will be passed to the function after the elements. Okay, so I can do something like index, and this might be very confusing. You might have not confusing, but you might have problems when you write Puppeteer, when you send stuff to the browser, but you have to remember that in browser context, you don't have, for example, this index. What did I do wrong here? It doesn't let me do, ESLint doesn't let me do underscore here, so yeah. So now I should be green, let's see. I shouldn't be green. Wait, I didn't write the production code yet. So I wrote my test. My test says click a cell at, and I want to expect that driver.get a cell at. I want to get this cell now to be x. Okay, so now after I clicked the cell, I want to take the content, and in order to take the content, I will do something similar. Okay, page.eval, and I want to take the inner. Actually, let's copy. And let's take the inner. Okay, so this will be click a cell at. I have a problem here. Click of undefined. What? Array from. Okay, never mind. We'll get to it. Okay, so questions. We wrote a test which clicks a cell and then is getting the value from this cell and expecting it to be an X. Okay, I just want to take another look here to see that I don't have a problem. No, so array from, I'm taking all the elements and I will take the first one, and then actually I think in this case I don't need array from. Usually I use array from for if I want to use map or something, map or for each. So here I might not need this. I think I don't need this here. Okay, so just elements in the index page.
What do we need the index at the end of the line?
Sorry?
What do we need index at the end of the line?
Here?
Yeah.
So again, when you use $$
I see. Okay.
you need to pass this code will run on browser.
Yeah.
Okay, and when you run this function in browser, it doesn't know what index is. It will fail. So you need to pass it, and the way to pass it to the function is you'll have it anywhere, like almost everywhere in Puppeteer. You'll have args, which you can actually take, and it will be the input for the input of this function. Okay, this is the way it works in Puppeteer. So now the test is red because this is our red test. Okay, there is no click of undefined. We don't have anything to press on. And I want to pass this test really, really fast to be green as fast as possible. Let's cheat. Do you have any suggestions? How can we cheat here?
Render X always.
Yeah, so just render X always. So let's go to our game. And inside our game, this is our game, right? Let's have a table. And let's have a T body. And I will have one TR with one TD. And I will put X here. That's it. Okay? And we are green. So I cheated. I wanted the test to be green as fast as possible. So this is the way, like, you don't have to do it. It's like just to demonstrate. When you work in your day-to-day, if you work TDD, it's just convenient because now when I'm green, I know that my test is right. I know that my test is correct. And now I can write my real code and make it green for real.
But shouldn't you write another test which like disallow you to use this trick?
Yeah, so this is a great question. Shouldn't I write another test? Wait. Now, not a t-shirt. So, shouldn't I write a new test? So actually, yes, I want to write a new test now. I won't write new test because I'm a little bit lazy. So I will fix my test. Let's prove that I cheated. Let's say that before I clicked, there was no X. Okay? But usually you can say that I don't want to expect two things on the same test, and I will maybe write another test, and then I can even delete it. It's only a baby step that helps us. So now we're red again. Why? Because, wait, we expected to have empty here, but it's hard-coded. We have an X here. Okay, is it clear? So this is a helper, like we cheated. Now I'm saying, wait, I cheated. This is the proof that I cheated. At first, I don't want to have an X, and I have an X here. So now, let's fix this mess. So in order to fix it, I need a board now. Okay, I want to render a board, okay? A board which will be 3 on 3. Let's use a double dimension array, okay? 3 on 3. Usually, if it will be larger array, I will use some like array from or something more sophisticated. But here, I will just use a stupid array, like this, because I can refactor later. But here, because it's really simple, it's only 3 on 3. So I'll do something like I will have this array. I will pass this array as a board to game. This dot state dot board. Okay, because game need to use this board. Okay. And now let's render this board. Okay, let's render it. Let's use this board prop here as well. Feel free to ask if you have questions during. And actually, the board is, who knows, it's like prop types array of, and inside it's prop types array of also prop. So it's a prop types array of strings, prop types strings. Okay, so this is my dot is. Okay, so this is my board, and now let's render this board. So I'm replacing this part with this. Not this. It's board. Board.map. And now I will have something like this is row, and in each row I will have a tr, and for each tr I don't need anything here. For each tr I will have, let's do something. I can actually fix it later. Okay, it's ugly, but I can refactor when I'm green. Okay, so now I'm using row.map, and inside I will have a cell. Actually, I need the index also for later, so let's use it here as well. Row index and cell index. And inside I will render the TD, and Prettify will help me now. So let's see that I didn't do anything. And here I have cell inside my TD. And let's try to fix it, to fix the mess. So after tr, so I have something. I think I did something wrong here. Let's see if you could help me.
Yeah, you should close it.
Close tr, right? So I will close tr now after this, after here, right? So here I should close tr. And now what else?
That function inside the map should be you lose one bracket.
Before cell.
Here?
After map. You should write a map.
After map? After
Yeah,
second?
because-
Yeah. I had a feeling that I did something wrong here. And what else is wrong?
Close map.
Yeah. I know when I'm done, maybe I'll write it again. I did something. Sorry? Curly bracket where? Which line? Here? Switch them. Yeah. Now I know that I'm right because. And now we need, let's send. We need a click here, click function. So let's do on click equals. And on click, I need an event now because I want the parent, I want app.js to handle everything. He owns the state. Okay, this is just a prop. So let's pass another on cell click prop here, which is a function. On cell click. Okay, is it fun? Is it clear? So I'm actually clicking a cell and I want to trigger a function, to trigger an event to the parent and say a cell was clicked on X and Y, on row and cell. This is why I needed the R index and C index. So now I'll do something like on cell click, maybe on cell clicked. On cell clicked. Now on click I want to do on cell clicked, and I want to send. I want to send a row index and cell index. Okay, so I called this function. No interaction, interactive element should be assigned mouse keyboard. Okay, I will fix it soon. And on cell clicked, let's go to the parent. Now I need here. I want on cell clicked, And what I will have here is this dot on cell clicked. And let's implement this. It will get row index and cell index. Okay, if you have questions or something unclear, so feel free. Okay? So actually what I want now is to handle this click. Okay, I cheated. Remember, I did it really, really fast because now I know that the test is working. And now I'm doing all the logic, the heavy lifting, the heavy logic. And I will see that I'm still green. It's really nice. It's really helping me. So now I don't want to mutate board directly. I know I will use set state later, but I don't like to mutate state directly, so board directly. So I'll do local board, which will use this dot state dot board dot map, which will get the row. And I will also spread the row. This will just let me, because it's two-dimensional array, it will create a new one. So I can do something like board in row index and cell index equals x like this, and actually not mutate.
Not rows.
Row, yeah, thanks. Okay, so and now I can do something like this dot set state to board. Okay, so I could actually mutate this. I can do some kind of mutation, but I don't like it. It will break my history, like if I want to do some time traveling or whatever, I don't know. So here I'm actually doing this dot set state, but I'm doing it on a new instance of board. I'm not mutating it here directly. It's just an implementation. And now I should be green, but I broke something. I broke isLint because non-interactive element, blah, blah, blah. I'm not allowed to use on-click on table. So I have some fix for that. I don't remember the syntax. So let's go to, I have a solution example here. Yeah, I have a different fix for that. Let's see. Roll grid and roll grid cell. So here I can have inside game, I can have, it was on the table, roll grid and on TD. And now everyone are happy, and I'm still red because I did something wrong. Sorry? Unique key, yeah. So actually, I can use something like key equals, let's see if it will let me. I think it will. Usually, if you change the order, so you are not allowed to use the index, but for here it's okay to use the index. Yeah, and I'm green. So isLint like didn't let me do some all kind of stuff, but I'm green. So actually what we did, let's recap the last test. We started with a red test. We made it green really fast. We just put an X, because if we did all this logic at once, then we'll have to, like, we're not sure if you wrote the test correctly, maybe we did not write it correctly. Now we are sure the test is okay, and then we wrote the actual logic, which was kind of like a lot to do. Not a lot, but more. So, and then I just used a board to pass the game. We rendered this board. We can maybe refactor here to another component if you want, if you'd like. And then I used an on-click event, and in my app, I just had X here. And actually, I'm not allowed when I'm writing TDD, I'm not allowed to handle anything else than X now, because I didn't write a test for it. It's really important. It sounds maybe stupid at the start, But if I do any other logic here, like you can be tempted to do logic like say, what about O? What about the other player or whatever? This line will not be covered. So only when I write test for the scenario, I'm allowed to write more logic. I have to write the minimum set of code to make my test green. Is it clear? So it's really important because any other logic that I will write here other than X will not be tested if I'm not allowed to do this yet. Okay, so for now, I don't know what is O. I'm not allowed. Questions before we continue? Yeah.
Could you please go about a little bit more? You at line 17, you did shallow copying by rows, and I suppose the board, the previous board is mutated, so React won't know about the changes.
Wait, what do you mean
Did
again?
shallow copying by rows. Shallow copying.
I did map is also immutable. So I did map, and then each row is also.
Yes, and the rows are arrays, and in the line 18 you made the array.
Okay.
The board are
Anyway, set state is immutable, so it's not really an issue. But set state will fix everything. So I could do something like this, and it will also work. But I wanted to have the. It's not really important for the TDD discussion here, but I can show you, like I can open terminal and play with it. For my understanding, I did map, which creates now a new array of rows, and each row now is also, I cloned it. I did 2 steps of cloning here. So I think it's all right. But anyway, it will work. It's not related to the discussion here. Okay, is this?
No, sorry.
Yeah.
A question about Puppeteer. So does it have
Sorry, about?
Puppeteer?
Puppeteer, yeah.
Does it have like debug mode? So we can go
Yeah.
to Apple?
Yeah. You have the great question. There was a question how, like Puppeteer, how can we debug Puppeteer? Okay, so it's actually, I wanted to show you how to debug when I have my first something not working here, but until now it was working. So let's do it. So we have few modes to debug Puppeteer actually. So one way is to actually have an environment variable to see all the traffic, but it's not the usual way to like usually when you want to debug, you won't use it. I just saying that you can add an environment variable to see all the WebSockets communication. This is for lower level debugging of what's going on behind the scenes. But here, if I want to debug, I'm using Jest. So I can actually have a plugin here for VS Code, for Jest. So I can just put a debug here, and I can actually debug my tests. So I can put a breakpoint here, for example, and just debug Jest. I think even just a second. I have no. So before we debug this, I want to show you the most important thing. Let's say I want to stop the browser after the new game, okay? Or after the first click. I can do something like await page.wait for with a large timeout, and I can actually just stop the browser. And when I launch the page, I can go and change it to be headless false. So for example, here it was headless true, headless false. Okay. So now if I go back to my terminal, let's run it regularly, not with watch mode. I see my Chromium, which should be opened. Wait, just a second. Yeah. So now I see my browser paused, and I can actually debug here, and I can actually open it with DevTools open. So if I go back here, I can change it to be DevTools true. And actually now what will happen, if I run the test again, I had a 1 million millisecond pause. So now it will be opened with DevTools open, okay? And actually, if I have an evaluate something, I can have a debugger statement inside. It will stop at this debugger. So for example, if I want, let's say I want to evaluate evaluate is just, it's like $eval, but without any query selector or something. It's just a function I want to run on browser, okay? So I can do something like evaluate, and I do something like, let's say, debugger, and then let's do console log for document.title. Okay, so now it should stop. Now it should stop in the debugger statement, and I can actually debug my code. Okay, so if, for example, I had an evaluate here with something like document title, doesn't have to be. I just want to show you console log and debugger. So if I want to debug those, it will be actually opened. Oh, something went wrong here. I need to change the timeout as well. So I have a function here which just timeout. I will change it as well. And I will run again with a larger timeout. I have a 10 seconds timeout for my tests. So I enlarged it so I can pause and debug stuff. And now it actually stopped at my debugger. And I can actually stop and debug my whatever I wanted. I want to see what is inside document, title, React app. Okay? Actually, now you can see how it works, what is working here in, like, if for example, this is for the index. Remember the index problem that we didn't have index in context? So for example, if we're already here, let's say that I have const a equals 42, and I want to use it here. Remember that we had something similar with index? Now if I run my test, you will see okay, are you with me? It's important for debugging, it's really important. Wow, I have all kinds of, yeah. So now you can see that A is undefined. Why is it undefined? Because this function, which I put inside evaluate, this function, is now running in browser context. And A is not here. A is in node here. If I want to use it here, I have to pass it as arguments and use something like we did before, like let's call it, I don't know, AA and AA, okay? And now, if I kill this one, and I run it again, and now you will see that I have A in context. And now I have my AA passed as an argument, and I can use it because it runs on browser. I hope now it's maybe a little more clear, okay? Mm-hmm. So what happened, we took this function, we stringified it, and we did eval on browser for this function, okay? And now I can debug it. And actually here debugging the actual test, now you have two places you want to debug. Browser code, which you just saw, and the actually node test. So this is just node. whatever IDE you use, you can just debug. Okay, I can even just put console log here. I can put something like console log here for whatever I need. For example, player 2. Okay, I will move this. And now I don't need the browser anymore. Let's remove the browser from here, from setup. So I'm now headless true again, okay? But all I want to do, let's quit what we have here. And now I just killed everything here. And now if I run the test, I can see player 1 name from console somewhere. Wait, here. Player 2 name is computer, okay? So, and you can debug it, like from your IDE, if you use WebStorm, VS Code, you can just put breakpoints and debug Node or Jest or whatever you use. And last thing, I can also use Puppeteer has, it's an event emitter, so everything here is an event emitter. So I can do something like page.on console, and now I can take what I have here and console log it in Node. So actually, what will happen here, I think I need, I can do it here at start. I can do it here before navigating. Can actually put it here before navigating. And actually, I don't need a wait. What I'm doing here, console on the browser will be logged to our IDE, to our terminal. Okay? Because when you have, sorry?
So this is for the actions, like for interaction between browser context and not context, or
Yeah.
about actions in browser.
No. When you have console logs or errors or whatever in browser, you will see it in Node. You will see it on your terminal. So for now, if for example I will put console log eval and console log, I will see it also in Node terminal. Okay? So consoles from the browser. Maybe we have console. I think we have. It's React DevTools. It's React started React Create App. Sorry. So we should have some logs. Let's see. Yeah, here. You have console message. This web app is being served. This is something that is shown on here. You see? So I can actually see logs from browser in my node if I register to this event, okay? There are more of this, like in Puppeteer's API, but this is enough for, okay? It was a short break for debugging, okay? And let's go back and let's remove this line. And let's remember we finished, we're green. Let's see that we're green. I'm doing npm start and npm run test watch. And now I'm back again in my hopefully green. Yeah. So we are green. We have our second test, which is should have X after first player clicks. Okay. And now our final, like, we can have our skeleton. Our skeleton was first player having 3 X's on first line and winning. I don't care about edge cases. I don't care here about second player, anything. It's really important to have this end-to-end flow working so you see that your entire application is functioning. Usually if you have API calls, external APIs that you work with, you want to have a skeleton working as fast as possible. And we can talk about it later a little bit, but if you're working continuously, in continuous integration environment, you can actually deploy it really fast under a feature toggle. We can discuss it later. It's not related really, but the power of it, if you use a skeleton like this, you can see it working on production really fast. So I would deploy my application like here, functional, like partially functioning under a feature toggle in production, and see it working in production with all the API calls and everything connected. So this skeleton is really important. We want to have this skeleton up as soon as possible without edge cases, without all the logic. Like I'm leaving all the logic behind and I'm moving fast to a working skeleton, okay? So our test now will be first player should win the game. And by the way, we still didn't open the browser. We saw the browser from time to time, but it was there, but we didn't test our browser at all. Okay? And we know that it works because we have tests to prove it. We know that everything is working without debugging browser, without a browser. And last test for this skeleton will be to start a new game. Actually, I can later on, you see that I'm doing this stuff again and again. I can move it to a before each or something inside the describe, so you won't write it again and again. So we have a new game, and now I want to win. In order to win, let's open tic-tac-toe and just see what we are clicking. So in order to win, I guess this is a new game, yeah. So I will do click in 0 place, and then the second player, which we don't have yet, will click. Wait, I want to play against the where it's So first player will click here at 0, then at 4, then at 1. I'm talking about indexes. 0, 4, 1, 5, 2, and then we have a win. Okay. So we have clicks at 0, then 1, and then 4. Now we don't have, sorry? 3. It doesn't matter, but 3, yeah. So we don't have a second player yet, but I don't want this test to break when I will have a second player. So I'm clicking there, and now we have 1, and 4, and 2, and that's it. And now I expect driver dot winner message. Okay, I want the winner message to be something like player 1 won. Okay, and let's implement this method, winner message. And for that, I want to do page.eval. And here I want something like, I will have data hook for it, winner. And I will take the inner HTML from it. Okay? So now I should see my test red because I don't have a winner. Okay, this is important to see that it fails for the correct reasons. And now let's cheat again. Let's make it really fast. Let's make it green really fast, and it's easy. I will just put hard-coded message here. So let's put, we are at the main app. I'll just put a div here with a data hook of winner. And here we'll say, I want, Yaniv won. I can actually say something like, doesn't really matter, but let's do it like this. So I cheated. What?
More brackets. You need like
Just remove template string. It's just it.
What? Like this? Ah, so don't use it. Ah, okay, I understand. Yeah. So I cheated. I made my test green as really, really fast. And now let's fix it. And again, we won't fix it before we write another line or another test. That actually tests that before we won, like expect driver dot get winner message to be not get winner message. Let's say something like is winner message visible to be false. Now usually I don't like tests of false not equal false or something like this. Here I allow myself, I can do something maybe a little bit nicer later, but for now is winner message visible to be false, okay? And it should fail because, wait, we didn't implement it yet, so let's implement. So let's say, and now all I want to do, we actually can use a regular selector without a val, which actually it's a query selector without a function later to use. It will just bring me the element. And I can do something like, let's make it a, something like this, okay. So now if it's null or something, it will return false. And now it says, I'm expecting it to be not visible, but it is visible. I got true, okay? So I checked if the winner message is visible, and I got false. I expected to be false, I got true. Okay, so let's fix. Any idea how to fix this? Okay, so let's have a state here for winner. So yeah, exactly. So I'll have something like winner, which is empty at start, because we don't have a winner here. And here, I'm not, this is an important point, I'm not allowed to test any other condition than what's in the test. Any other logic that I'll put here, except winning first line, will be not tested, okay? Because I tested only first line. So what I will actually do here is if board in the 0 row, in the first row, and I can actually say that every cell here should be x. If every cell in the first row is x, so I will do something like this dot set state for winner to be x. Is this clear? Okay, so I only tested first row for x and x, x. Okay, this is the only test I did here. What's wrong here? Unused state winner. We don't use it yet, so this is the part we use it. So for here we can do something like this dot state dot winner end. So if we have a winner, show the winner message. Okay?
There is a typo.
It didn't find. Wait. Didn't find. So what was broken here? It didn't find. Wait. First player should win the game.
Because we have no as a first, right?
Sorry.
As a first, we have no instrument because this returns.
Again, I didn't get it.
When we select this element, try to select it in the test.
In the
We have no it, right?
where?
In method is winner message visible.
Have it.
In a driver, probably we should.
Yeah.
We are trying to.
Here?
Yeah, with the
Oh, so it fails here. It didn't find. Ah, you mean here? So I did something like this first. No, it didn't work. What did I do wrong here? No, it should be working. I have. Let's see, just a second. It's not the right place. Just a second. I want to see that I did it okay, like the example I did. So I said that in the driver has winner, I called it. Yeah, it should be working. This part should be working. So.
But initially you have an empty string, and based on that condition, we won't have that winner.
Yeah, so it will return null. This part will return null, and then it will be falsy. So in this case, this is the first place that I actually want to see if the problem is. I can actually do something. It was already open. Let's do something like npm start, and let's go and check our test. So I'll do put. Let's start a new game, and let's simulate the exact same scenario. And actually, I see that it didn't work. I have a problem here. You see, I have a problem. I don't see the message. So let's see what did I do wrong here. Winner. This.state.winner, and it's empty. Sorry. We can actually debug our code. Let's see how we debug our code. Oh, not in the right place.
You should
Yeah.
switch places for such things. You're checking for
Oh,
first row before
yeah.
second.
Exactly. Who said that? So you deserve a. If we're green, you deserve a shirt as well. Only for green. React or Wix? What do you want?
React.
So it was a stupid mistake, yeah. I wrote the live coding sucks. So I wrote the condition before I actually put X here, so it didn't work. So my implementation was bad, but cool. So we are green and everything is okay. So we have our first skeleton, and if we already opened the browser, let's play with it. So you can see that we have 2 players, and now everyone is X now. Everyone are X, yeah. And we have, they have the same name. Wait. But we knew that everything is working because we have test for it. Okay? So, and we see it for the kind of first time. Questions? Cool. Let's have a 10 minutes break. Okay? We'll be here at, let's say, at 1. Okay? Nice.